What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the second recording of the Outside Line Media podcast. We had no audio, and now we get to re-record it.
Yeah, we get to double down our thoughts, double down the bad takes. I have to look at my bad predictions once again.
I took the lead again. I mean, I didn't take the lead. I extended the lead. Sorry.
Extended his league with his bummy picks. You know how it is.
All right, let's just get right into it. NASCAR at Dega. Kind of a shit race, honestly.
Yeah,
like a pretty solid 3 out of 10.
Yeah, even just ignoring the no big one, just a very uneventful race.
Did you see Bubba's run from 20th to the top 10?
Bubba had a run at the end, just sticking in the middle, literally just getting all the people that got antsy and just driving up.
And a little bit of fuel issues, I think.
Some people are running out of fuel. There's the people that are like, oh, I'll just get a splash less and hope it's okay.
Yeah. 1 second less on the pit stop, but I'll just run out of fuel during the race.
And usually that causes a big one. Usually when you have people run out of fuel in a pack, it's just like, oh, there's the big one.
It was enough of a bump to get some more down into the pump.
I really thought Carson Hocevar was going to run out and cause the big one because he was like a second short on fuel, they said. But he ended up making it.
Yeah, so I mean, you can fuel save a second, especially at Dega.
Yeah, especially
you can hit a fuel save number at Dega.
Especially when the Fords and I think the Chevys were trying to fuel save basically the whole race.
Yeah, the Toyotas were the only cars not fuel saving that race.
Because they knew they wouldn't win on fuel save, so they wanted to go. Yeah. And it looked like it might have worked, but if you didn't watch the race, we'll go over a quick little recap of the eventful things that happened.
Seatbelt died.
Seatbelt died. First, though, Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch got in a little incident in the pits.
I think they got murdered by... It was Cole Custer, because I remember arguing because I was hoping it was going to be a big one. And there was going to be 6 cars involved because my prediction was for Cole Custer to cause the big one. And
I don't think it was really caused by Cole Custer. According to Kyle Busch, he was
slowing down for...
On Kyle Busch himself, he said he started to slow down. He thought Brad was about to cut down, so he wanted to cut up and kind of get past him. But Keselowski had the same idea, and they both just ran into each other because they didn't know each other were pitting. Spun each other out, collected Blaney.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to
Blaney fans are having a great season.
They're just having it's a horrible year to be a Blaney fan. I mean, no fault of his own, really.
Yeah,
he's just trying to get through the chaos and got collected. That brought out the first caution.
Of only 2 real cautions.
2 legit cautions.
Second one was Denny bumping Seabell just bad way somehow.
Yeah, it didn't look weird. They were not even up to full speed yet, but I believe it was, I can't remember what podcast I was talking about that, but they said that the way the Toyota rear bumpers are is it has a crown, and if you catch the side of that crown, which it looks like maybe Seabell got a little loose, and at the same time Denny Hamlin got a little loose and just careened Seabell into the wall.
Just bad luck.
Unfortunate. They got to do something about that part of the wall at Daytona.
They also have to do something about the Toyota rear bumpers, but...
Yeah, but that part of the wall, same place Zilli hit, Connor Zilic, and as of today, it was announced that Connor Zilic is missing the Texas race to recover from his injuries.
And possibly more.
I didn't see that, possibly more.
I think the exact quote was he's working to get better as fast as possible, which to me reads as and possibly more.
Yeah. Kyle Larson taking his seat.
Gotta school those Xfinity boys.
Yeah, I guess he can finally stand on business, but for a different team this time. He's running the JR Motorsports. Kyle Larson is.
Still a good car, though.
So good car. Should be interesting seeing him as a replacement. Be cool. More Xfinity races for Kyle Larson. Also, I don't know if you saw Denny wants to do some Xfinity races at Dega.
He said I know. He was talking about doing some super speedway. I think he'd rather do Daytona, he said.
Oh, okay. But
he said that Xfinity is basically the way super speedway racing should be.
Yeah, I mean, might as well just run the Xfinity car at the drafting tracks, I guess, not plate races. Potato.
Potato, potato.
Since they don't actually run plates anymore, but close enough.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
just
overall,
mid-weekend.
Yeah, and then at the end, Cindric catching the draft of some lapped cars right at the end to pull himself past Priest right at the finish line. Just 2x2. No one could do anything. Can't step out. Draft's too strong.
Yep. Joey
Yeah,
Logano got disqualified at the end of the race. Praise God for a missing bolt on the L bracket on the spoiler, which can cause spoiler deflection and can give them a performance advantage. Ryan Preece had 3 shims instead of 2 in his spoiler.
Don't know how that happens. That seems like,
that just seems like a dumbass kind of thing.
Neither of them appealing, I believe. I know for sure Penske said they're not appealing.
Neither of them appealed. Penske's not appealing because the same thing probably happened to Cindric's car.
Yeah, they probably are like, we don't want this to be looked at. We're just gonna. They immediately like, we're not appealing. We're sorry, we messed up.
Yep.
That's that. So, Cindric's your winner. Your
Joey
top
Logano
5.
gained a lot of hate from his stage 1 radio. MLB Hall of Famer Chipper Jones chiming in on it.
Interesting. Did not expect that. He went on a rant, and when Joey Logano got disqualified, he's like, my day just keeps getting better. I mean, it was beautiful to see the crash out he had.
I was already a Chipper Jones fan because I used to be a Braves fan. He just keeps getting better.
Yeah. Joey Logano never even congratulated Cindric on the win. Just say he's happy Penske won. Never specifically said Cindric won. I
mean, Cindric's a bum, but
yeah, I'm sure. Hopefully, it's Joey Logano, so you don't know, but hopefully he'll realize, like, okay, it was not my fault. Cindric had to check up. Too much speed. Had to run. Was going to dump me if he hit me and push me.
Yeah, but he also didn't accept any responsibility in the Martinsville press conference.
No, he never accepts. He never accepts responsibility. He never will.
Bitch.
But overall, pretty boring race. No big one, which I hate to say that, but let's be honest. It's Dega. We're expecting a big one. I want a big one.
Yeah.
As soon as Short said, if we don't crash half the field, we ought to, take them, turn them around. Might as well. But even excluding that part, it's just overall pretty boring race. Just 2x2 when they were actually running, and then 4x4 or 4x when they were
4x30 or whatever.
Yeah, when they were saving fuel. But
yeah,
once
from like lap 5 until the end of stage 1.
Once you're running full, if you're 2x2, you just can't step out. It's like pulling a parachute. And those cars, just continuing the problems of the next gen cars. I was really hoping to have a good Dega race to kind of stifle. I don't think that's the right word. Stop the narrative going around about a lot of hate on NASCAR, because as much as there are issues, it still is not a bad series. So a lot of negativity flying about that. But we touched on a lot of these topics in our State of NASCAR video. Racing Lines, new series we're doing. We're having an IndyCar episode coming out alongside this. Soon
It'll be
after
out on
this.
Friday. Yeah.
Out on Friday. So
we're releasing Racing Lines on Casey Kane Friday.
Casey Kane Friday. Amen, brother. But we'll just round out your top 5 for the race was Cindric, Larson, Byron, Gragson, Elliott, and that's post the Priest and Logano
DQ.
So
Carson hosts of our top 10.
Carson hosts of our top 10 in the 6th. Got real lucky that Ross Chastain was feeling nice, let him through, and then blocked the rest of them. Disgusting move by Ross Chastain. Super
It's always
dangerous,
a Trackhouse car too. Did you hear Denny's comment about that?
It really is always a Trackhouse, because I guess Daniel Suarez did it last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Problem is, I don't agree with Denny on the fact that you should black flag him. Initially, obviously, I do, because I'm a Joe Gibbs Racing fan, because I'm a Seabell fan, and if I want a Joe Gibbs Racing driver to win, but you can't start black flagging for moves like that. It is reckless. It is dangerous. But it's usually a self-policing.
Yeah, and if you're in that position, are you gonna try to block the train that's flying past you, or are you gonna sink down to like 12th?
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm making that move 10 times out of 10 in iRacing.
Yeah, and I'm sure he had Chevy in his ear going, "Come on, man, we'll stop that Toyota train, because that thing's coming in hot."
Yeah.
I'm sure he had pressure from that. He's lucky that the car he did it on was Denny Hamlin. A lot of other drivers probably would have caused a massive wreck because of that, and Ross Chastain wouldn't have finished.
Yeah.
It's not Denny Hamlin, as much hate as he gets. He's a good driver. There's
And I
no
will
doubt.
say, I do agree with his comments that if another, like Ross should have definitely taken some responsibility at the end of the race when Denny went to go talk to him, because 100% Ross Chastain would have been lining up to talk to somebody if they had blocked him like that.
Oh yeah.
The example he used was if Carson Hocevar pulled that move on Ross Chastain.
Yeah, but yeah, which has happened, and he went and lined up to complain to him. So it's one of those things where it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But Ross Chastain should be like, yeah, it was a dumb block. I didn't want y'all getting by, but he should admit it's a dumb block because it's a dumb block. It's reckless. It's dangerous. But he did what it did, and it worked. The Toyotas ended up 20 something way back there. I mean,
horrible race from them.
Yeah, I mean, Bub Wallace is the highest Toyota just because he had that huge run at the end, cutting through the field. So
yeah. But Ryan, how did your top 3 predictions do at Dega?
Not great. I got 1 out of 3. I had William Byron, Ross Chastain, and Brad Keselowski in my top 3. Obviously, William Byron was in the top 3. Ross Chastain was not, and was on my shit list this week, so I don't want to think about it. And Brad Keselowski was shit fucked out of the race. So,
yep.
What are you gonna do?
I had William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Brad Keselowski. We had the wrong RFK driver in our top 3, evidently.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, got William Byron and Kyle Larson right. So not a bad weekend. Could have been better, but
who's your hit the apex, Patrick?
I had Bubba Wallace getting the top 10, and damn, did that run at the end of the race give him that top 10?
He sure did. Right at the buzzer. He got it. I had SVG. I don't want to talk about it. I might need to start remembering why SVG is in NASCAR, and that is to win the road course and get in the playoffs. Not been doing great on ovals.
Yeah.
Not been doing great overall. Also, it doesn't help that that car doesn't seem to be good this year.
Yeah.
They just seem to be a step off. They took a step back from last year.
And then we had the same Miss the Apex this week, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Denny Hamlin. I went against my own team. Worked out, paid off. I guess thank you, Ross Chastain, even though I wish it wouldn't have been, but
bummy move, but thanks for the point.
Yeah, really. Thanks for the point. Bringing and the next 2 questions, we both got no points because there was no big one. So there was no big ones counted, and there was no person causing the biggest one because there wasn't a big one. So that's no points for either of us. How many points you end up with this week, Patrick?
I got 4.5 points this week, Ryan.
I got 2.
That makes the current total 53.5 to 45.5 with me in the lead.
Game ain't over yet. I didn't hear no bell.
No, and my predictions this week will probably help close that lead down a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. We will have to see. So I guess moving on from Dega, we got a lot of racing this week. So how about we roll right into our predictions? And we start with F1, which is at Miami.
If you guys want some good in-person Miami content this weekend, check out Podium Pop. They will be at the race in Miami this weekend.
There'll be some great content from them on the race.
Me with the $400 tickets, though.
Yeah, I'm good. And I do believe you're not a huge fan of the Miami race, Patrick.
No, Miami sucks.
It's not the worst of the street races, for sure, but it's definitely still a street race.
I don't know. It might be worse than Monaco. Not racing product-wise. Like, Monaco at least has the heritage to back it up. The racing product's about the same as Monaco, though.
That's crazy. I mean, it's bad, but it's not.
Vegas is the best street circuit, and you can't change my mind.
Which is crazy, because when they released that track map, I was like, sweet Lord, what did they do?
I mean, it's just high-speed corner, followed by hard braking zone, followed by high-speed, followed by hard braking. But it works with the current gen. Yeah,
with how racing works in F1, it really does work. So, let's roll right into your predictions. What's your top 3, Pat?
I think McLaren's going to continue their dominant form. But I think that it's going to be Lando at the top step of the podium this week. Won his first race here last year. You know my thoughts on that. And yeah, I think that he's going to finally find some form again this season and hopefully not crash out in qualifying and make his weekend hard. Then I've got Oscar and George rounding out the podium.
Pretty similar podiums. I think Oscar's going to continue his run. I think I got Oscar winning, followed by Lando, and then kind of throw Ferrari in there. So I'm putting Charles in my P3 position. So
there you go. And then what about your hit the apex this week?
I got Ollie Behrman. I think when in doubt, Ollie Behrman.
Yeah.
You know?
Not too bad of a strategy. I kind of went in the same vein. When in doubt, Isaac Hadjar. He's kind of been the dark horse this season, I think. I don't think anyone was really expecting much out of him, but
especially after his first race and all the noise about that. I mean, real great from him bouncing back.
I think that he's going to bounce back in the points this weekend, though.
Okay.
He's coming off the back of some mid finishes, so I think he's going to regain that confidence and take a nice finish.
Who's your miss the apex, Patrick?
I don't think Lewis Hamilton's going to finish in the points this weekend.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, he just hasn't worked well with that car. I mean, neither has Charles. It just seems like kind of a shit car this season, but next year's our year. Always
next year's our year. I don't hate it. I have George Russell finishing outside the points. Whether that be from just pace or strategy or a mistake. I'm just have a feeling George Russell's not going to have a great weekend this week. Yeah, you have in your top 3. We'll see. We will see.
And who is your best of the rest this weekend?
I got Williams. What about you? You hopping back on the RB train?
Hopping on the RB train. Williams did me good last weekend, but I think that RB's taking it this weekend. Okay. Seems like an RB track. Don't know why, but it just does.
Okay, I like it. So that's F1. Should be a interesting race. Excited to watch it.
Should be a Formula 1 race. Should be some good qualifying.
Yeah, good, interesting F1 race as always. It's F1.
Yeah.
Rolling right along, we got NASCAR at Texas Motor Speedway.
Ryan, who you got in your top 3 at TMS?
I need points desperately. And one of these 3 people will end up in the top 3. I know that at least. A minimum of getting 1 point. I got William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Seabell. Now, let me explain Kyle Larson here. I think it'd be funny now that I found he's running Xfinity if he wins 1 race and then gets second again. I know he's not running trucks, but...
No, because since he's only running 2, he's going to win both of them. He just can't win a triple.
That is true.
Double headers all day. Larson, he just can't win a triple.
William Byron, Kyle Larson, Seabell. Can't go wrong. I mean, those are the guys for intermediate ovals. Mile and a half, Kentucky Speedway. Come back, Kentucky Speedway. You'd be great for NASCAR.
You'd be great for IndyCar.
Sorry, IndyCar. Yeah, it'd be great for IndyCar. NASCAR, maybe repave again. Maybe double down.
Yeah, let's just do another repave. Fuck it.
Fuck it. I mean, at this point, the track probably needs it. Probably barren.
We're really taking the I-75 approach to Kentucky Speedway.
Just add another lane.
Add another lane.
Just add 2 more degrees of banking. I promise. It'll be okay.
Just give it the Atlanta treatment. Turn it into a super speedway.
Really? What's your top 3 for Texas, Pat?
I think that Seabell's going to bounce back from a very disappointing weekend, and he's going to be rocking up with the win. And then, just to give you a chance here, and going a little bit on vibes, I've got Alex Bowman in P2, kind of the Hendrick driver that hasn't really done a ton this season, but he was running pretty well at Talladega.
He was.
Running well at Bristol until he blew up an engine.
Yeah.
And then in P3, just because I want to see them on the podium, we got Josh Berry.
Okay, I like it. I would love to see Josh Berry back on the podium, and definitely a race that could happen.
I mean he is in the championship, so.
Yeah, I mean, you win and you're in. That's a great.
Unless you're Austin Dillon.
Did you see any of the videos of any of Dale Jr. download this week? You listen to that?
Not yet. I was listening to Actions Detrimental and Speed Street, actions detrimental, and off track at work today.
So he talked a lot about how he thinks the playoff system could improve. And one of his ideas that I actually don't hate is A, get rid of the 1 year in, and B, start the playoffs from the first week. So you're eliminating people all year long. So every race matters for the champion. You have to, a bad week will affect your season. And I don't hate that.
Yeah, just
If
like
we're gonna have
eliminate the
playoffs-
bottom driver that hasn't been eliminated yet each race.
I don't know if it's like that, but some kind of point system where every couple weeks you eliminate a group of people, the bottom half from the playoff system. You know, who knows how it works. You always still got the issue of manufacturers, orders blocking people.
And you just have the issues with racing is racing is racing is racing.
Yeah, so like if you had a driver that came out the season weak, they might just fuck their playoff chances in 4 weeks because
And also, like, what if we just have a rain interrupted quali or something?
Yeah, something. It could be.
And you get fucked. Or Joey Logano decides to be a bum in front of you and he wrecks you out, or Corey LaJoie's on track. Like,
yeah, so I mean, really a mixed bag, but definitely a lot of good ideas in there. Definitely a listen worth. He was proposing it, but
playoffs just don't work in racing.
They don't. It's just you can't.
There's too many variables and it's too random. That's how you end up with Joey Logano, 3-time champion. He was 15th in points going into the playoffs last year.
Crazy. Who you got for hitting the apex this week, Pat?
I have Carson Hocevar getting a top 10 this weekend.
Let me tell you something shocking here, Pat. I also have a Carson Hocevar hit the apex. I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I'm a believer now. I've tried to hate him for a while. He's on probation for me, so if he makes a single mistake and wrecks someone again, he's on my shit list. But I like what he's doing for the sport of NASCAR right now, and I think he's someone that they need. Him and Cletus are just really helping the sport, getting that, our age range, that Gen Z area. So really hoping he has a good weekend this weekend, and he stops being a dickhead and intentionally wrecking people and wrecking Corey Heim for the championship in trucks. I'll still always remember that.
The Spire's looking pretty good this season, too. They're starting to it seems like that program's finally starting to kind of get its legs under them.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, it was a new program 3 years ago. It's a pretty new program.
Yeah.
But they're looking
have a good week.
They're looking better. Minus the Apex, just because I want to go on a rant about him real quick. The most bummy of bummy, the Nepo child of NASCAR. No, I'm not talking about Ty Gibbs. I am talking about Austin Cindric. You think it's just a coincidence that he's on the team where the president is Tim Cindric? I don't think so. He's going to be coming off the back of a not hard-fought win, and he is going to finish outside of the top 20.
Yeah, the pressure's off. He doesn't have to perform. He's in the playoffs.
Yeah, and we know he won't perform.
Yeah, so I don't hate it. I got Daniel Suarez as my Missy Apex outside top 20. Been just like we've been talking about, just tough year for Trackhouse.
Yeah.
Just tough year. And Daniel Suarez looks like he's on his way out after this year, I think. We'll see, obviously, but just definitely a tough week from him, and I just don't think he'll be outside the top 20 or vibes, we'll see how I feel.
Because to be honest, outside the top 20 isn't even really a Miss the Apex.
That's a typical day at the office.
He has an average finish position of 20.7.
So we'll see how he looks, but I don't think it's gonna be a great race from him. So
and do you think that Joey Logano will finally break the worst follow-up to a championship curse?
No, he's going to be outside the top 5 for sure.
I'm so glad he got DQ'd.
So funny. I was clapping.
The one halfway decent result he finally gets, and he gets DQ'd for an illegal car.
So funny. I wish he would have been just DQ'd for the way he talked. I don't like Austin Cindric, but that's just the way he talked on the radio. I get all drivers are hot, and I'm biased because I hate Joey Logano, but I don't know. Talking
From
my way about
my unbiased, completely unbiased opinion, I have never said a bad word about Joey Logano. I probably said one at the very beginning of this podcast, I think. But ignore that. He's a bum. He's a horrible human being, and I hate him. Completely unbiased, by the way. Only speaking facts here.
20 likes, and I will set the Joey Logano National Pride card on fire on the pod with my Buc-ee's lighter.
With the Busey's lighter.
With the Buc-ee's lighter, I will light this Joey Logano National Pride card that I have sitting right here, just specifically to get toasted. All right, we don't Joey Logano hate podcasts. We know this. We've been over this.
Yeah,
but we know he's not going to do good with both. That's free space for us. That's a free point for both of us. Yeah. So nice and easy.
And we finally, let's transition to IndyCar, because we finally have IndyCar back this weekend. Our beloved
is back.
Ball in IndyCar. So even though I think IndyCar predictions have been some of my worst lately, my Indy NXT predictions they're amazing. The one time we've had to do them so far.
The one race
I went 3 for 3. I went 3 for 3.
Can't go wrong there. I will say, I think the fact that IndyCar is hard to predict is one of its best features. Yeah. Because it's so competitive and so close most weeks.
And you're on the wrong strategy and you're bad.
Yeah, and that's that. And the strategy, you might not know the strategy until 5 minutes into the race. You know what I mean? Well,
you might not know the strategy until Joseph Newgarden pits for new tires 2 laps into the race.
And everyone's like, oh, yeah, let's do that.
Facts, man.
For real. So let's start. Who's your top 3? Who's your winner?
I've got Christian Lundgaard winning. Looks like a very thermal-ish kind of track layout, fast-flowing corners. I mean, Barber's its own beast, but Christian Lundgaard's been looking good on street circuits, road courses. I think he's going to continue that good form. He's got to show off for the Spider. Got to do good for the Spider, man. But then I've got Pelot in P2 and a little bit of a off-the-wall take here, but I've got Marcus Ericsson in P3.
I like it. I like it. I mean, pretty good picks. I went pretty safe this week, putting 3 big names in the top 3, hoping one will stick. No Pelot, though, because I'm no bum. I got Scotty Mack completing the 3 in a row. First to ever do it. Am I correct on that? And
even if Newgarden or Power won it, they would be the first to get 3 at Barber. Yeah, Scotty Mack would be the first to get 3 and 3 in a row at Barber.
So really hoping that happens. Hoping for a good weekend from him. Obviously, Scotty Mack fan here. So
and he's gonna cut down Georgina.
Yeah, I need to see it. I need that desperately. Need it like crack. I got Christian Lundgaard coming in second. He's been on great form. Same things you were saying about, looks like a good track. Barbers think could be a good track, even though it's a little beast for him. And I got Kyle Kirkwood coming in third. I think he's going to keep some momentum from Long Beach, even though it's been, 21 days. We'll get into that. There will be talks about that in the Racing Lines episode about IndyCar. So stay tuned for that. But that's my top 3. Who you got hitting the apex, Pat?
I've got good old Felix Rosenquist hitting the apex.
I like it.
That car with the Chip Ganassi setups has been amazing. Just straight up full stop, and Felix is an amazing driver. Yeah, it's a good race for him.
Definitely, I agree. Enough said. I got Pato O'Ward. I think he's gonna return the Pato O'Ward we know. Top 5 finish for him, I think. Probably just outside top 4. Obviously, 4 or 5. No, my top 3.
Yeah, so Pato's not had a good season. Not a good start to the season.
No, and a lot of it's not due to his own fault. Some is, obviously. You can't. But just some unfortunate. That's what IndyCar is,
Unfortunate timings of red flags in qualifying. Just bad qualifying runs. It's just not been a great season from him so far.
Not been his year.
Just for McLaren overall, I mean, I feel like really. I mean, Pato didn't do bad in thermal, but he was off the podium, I think. No, he was on the podium, or he was P3 right? Maybe.
Yeah.
But McLaren in general just hasn't looked amazing, except for Christian Lundgaard.
Yeah,
which is kind of wild to say.
Not what you would expect coming into the year.
I was not expecting McLaren to be a good fit for Lundgaard, because it always seems like new drivers come in and don't really perform at that team. I mean, we saw what happened with Rossi when he went there from Andretti. I mean, that was a guy who was fighting for wins and podiums, and he just never got his mojo in the McLaren, it seemed like.
Yeah, so it's really impressive to see a driver come in and actually perform immediately.
Was he coming from a Chevy team, though? He was coming from Coin, right?
Yeah.
I'll look it up. Who did you have missing the Apex, Ryan?
I can never have predictions that are too good. I like throwing away points. I got Alex Palou outside the top 5. Horrible bet to make this year, but we'll see what happens. Just the steam has to run out eventually, right? Right?
He can't win every race.
I mean, he hasn't won every race, luckily.
He was with RLL, actually, which is definitely Honda, I think. Which is even more impressive.
Yeah. So, who's your Missy Apex?
I went opposite route, and I went Pato O'Ward missing the Apex.
Oh, wow. Think he's going to continue the same form?
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be a great race from him. Eventually, he'll find his form. Because he didn't win a race last year until Mid-Ohio, I think.
Yeah, was that his first race win, Mid-Ohio?
Of the season, I think. Or maybe he had won the week before. And then did it back-to-back. Or he did Mid-Ohio. He did a back-to-back. I just can't remember if it was the race before Mid-Ohio, or Mid-Ohio, the race after Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, I can't remember. Blanking. So much racing.
But,
so many rooms.
Yeah, he's got to get there, man.
Yeah.
And I'm just not really seeing it yet.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully we will have to see.
Maybe he got that Cadillac deal in his back pocket and he's checked out or something. Who knows?
I don't think I did. There's murmurings on that. We'll probably touch on that at our point. Should know some stuff after Miami, apparently. So.
There was an announcement on the 3rd. For
livery,
Cadillac.
they said.
Is it just the livery?
Colors, but apparently Sergio Perez is flying out there, so do it that way you will.
I swear to God, if they sign Checo, that just means they're cursed to be a midfield team.
For real.
Because Checo's great at midfield teams. Can't perform in a top team, though.
Yeah. You think it's going to run green the entire race, Pat? You think we're going to continue the streak?
Nah, it's Barber. We're getting a caution, whether it's Georgina falling off of the bridge again or aliens invading the track. We're getting some sort of caution this weekend.
But disagree. I think it's going to continue. I think the first yellow of the year is going to be the Indy 500.
Damn, you think it's going to run green through the Indy GP, which we will be at? Plug in that video in advance.
Yeah, I think it will. I do believe it will.
All right. Well, we'll agree to disagree on that. And we finally have Indy NXT, brought to you by Firestone. Here, finally, again. I love Indy NXT. Big news out of there this week. Evagoras Papasavas is racing for HMD Motorsports in Barber. Sophia Floresh obviously dropped after the last round in St. Pete. That hurts to say. We thought 21 days.
63 days ago? Is that math right? 3 21-week gaps? It's 63 days. They had an open test, but I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, they had a test at Mid-Ohio that Evagoras was in, so obviously they liked what they saw with his pace at Mid-Ohio, which he was already running at Mid-Ohio. He was scheduled for that race anyways.
Yeah, so obviously good for him.
Very deserving. If for some reason you're watching this after you saw our story and you decided to check us out, Evagoras, we'd love to have you on the podcast at Mid-Ohio. Just a little interview. We'd love that. If you're not watching this, I'll probably reach out to you and DM you at some point. But
beautiful.
Yeah, big news there. He was kind of looking like the front runner. He's who I was cheering for. He's a local Cincinnati guy from up in Loveland. He's a kid. Really talented for his age. I think he's still in high school. So just showing a lot of promise, and placed P4 in the USF 2000 championship last season and jumped straight up into Indy NXT. So
Very
really
deserving.
excited to see what he can do in a Indy NXT.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. So on that note, let's roll right into predictions about
Yeah.
Indy NXT. Who do you got winning? I think we agree on this one.
Actually, no. Dennis Hauger's inevitable.
Dennis Hauger's inevitable. I'm going.
He won by
Papasavas.
like 20 seconds at St. Pete, I
It's
think.
fine. I'm doubling down. Papasavas. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm pronunciation is not my strong suit. I apologize. I think he's gonna get it. I think he's gonna show up, one, and impress, and he's gonna impress. So
And get that seat for the rest of the season. Let's go.
yeah, for sure. I agree. That's my
I
take.
do think that Ivagor's Papasavas is going to hit the apex, though. I think he's going to have a
Okay.
solid debut in Indy next.
I got Miles Rowe hitting the apex because Miles Rowe
Another
is
good friend.
the nicest dude I've ever met. Oh my lord! I mean, just the nicest dude ever at the autographs. All the NXT drivers just seem so happy at the autograph sessions, and I love it.
Yeah,
They're
and
just
when we
so.
saw him at the Indy 8-hour, there was a huge line for autographs because I don't remember his name, Cody, whatever from Dude Perfect,
No,
and
brother.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Well, it was
Keanu
both
Reeves
of
is a
them.
big part, and the Dude Perfect. Yeah.
Cody got a lot of young kids out to that race, though. Like, I mean, it was insane how many kids were at that race. Because it's a really family-friendly channel. Keanu Reeves, not really family-friendly movies. Family-friendly guy, though.
A very family-friendly guy. One of the most down there guys. But Miles Rowe was waiting. I mean, stayed how many minutes after the autograph session?
I mean, we were probably there in half hour after the autograph session.
He was still there to sign autographs. So just
Went up to
a
him,
cool
just
dude,
talked to him a bit, and yeah.
down-to-earth guy. Just cool guy.
Yeah.
A great guy, and I think he's going to
Great
the apex
driver, too. He had some bad luck last season, so I think he finished P4 at St. Pete.
Fourth at St. Pete.
He's looking really comfortable at that Able Motorsports team.
Yeah, for sure. So
I mean, that's a championship contending team. So
yep, God, hopefully he's gonna hit the apex again this week. So who you got missing the apex?
Look, this is no hate towards her. I think she's a fantastic driver. That just narrowed it down right there. I think Haley Deegan's missing the apex. Unless she spent a ton of time on the simulator really getting ready for road courses, I think she's going to be an oval merchant this year because that's what she knows. In her NASCAR campaign, it was ovals that she was winning at, specifically short ovals. So if NXT runs the Milwaukee Mile, I would be really excited to see what Haley can do. But this is Barber that we're talking about, and she's missing the apex.
Okay. I got Salvador de Alba missing the apex. So
didn't he like cause a wreck last race?
I believe so. Sorry, I was trying to pull up testing data from.
Did they make it live?
No, I can't find anything, but I just hoping to see how Deegan did. I just see people talking about that Hauger continue to be the fastest. So whatever, we'll see.
I mean, Dennis Hauger is a Formula 2 champion, maybe, or he's done very well in junior formulas in Europe.
Yeah, he's a dog. He's an absolute dog.
He's
so
former Red Bull junior driver. Got out of there when I'm guessing he probably realized how horrible of a program it is.
Yeah.
But I'm just excited to really see what he can do. Indy next is running the Milwaukee Mile. I'm locking it in now. Haley Deegan's winning the Milwaukee Mile.
Definitely. I mean, she is a very competent oval driver. I
could see her maybe competing well at Gateway as well, and maybe Iowa, but Milwaukee Mile for sure.
Yeah, no, she should dominate that race. So yeah, Dale Alvin might miss the apex. Real excited NXT to be back.
Yeah. Overall, very busy weekend this weekend.
Yeah, basically everything but IMSA.
Sad it's not
essentially.
IMSA, though.
Yeah. Next week we get beautiful
F1 and F1 Academy at Miami, NASCAR Xfinity and Trucks at Texas, IndyCar, NXT, USF 2000, and MX5 Cup all at Barber. Excited for that MX5 Cup race. Moto America at Road Atlanta, and Formula E in Monaco. So actually good Monaco race.
Yes, cars that can fit
Definitely
in Monaco.
recommend watching if you can't watch the race live. They usually post extended highlights and qualifying and all that. Watch that because that is actually going to be a banger race.
Yeah, should be good. I'm really excited for that. Busy week. Depending on where you live in the United States or wherever you live, dirt track season's back. We tried to go to a race last weekend, rained out. Unfortunate. What are you gonna do?
Too
Kentucky
busy of
weather.
a weekend this weekend, unfortunately, to make it to the dirt race that we've got at Florence Speedway, but we floated the idea. We might have some content from the IMS Museum this weekend, depending on what the vibes are.
We might move on up. We'll see. We will have to see. It would be. We will see. That's all we'll say.
It'd be
we
a
might,
5-hour round trip.
we're gonna go to the IMS Museum eventually, but for now, we'll see. But yeah, get out to your local racetracks. It's that time of year. Might as well.
Yeah.
Support grassroots racing. Email whoever you can to tell them to bring back Kentucky Speedway. Harass them indefinitely, please. Anything outside of threats.
Yeah, don't directly threaten them.
No,
you can make it
no
a little
violence.
backhanded, but make it legally ambiguous. We do not condone this behavior legally in any manner. Outside line media does not condone threatening, harassing, or any other kind of behavior towards Speedway Motorsports International employees.
It's not their fault. To be fair, it's not their fault.
Except for the CEO. You know who it is? It's Mark Miles. It's not Mark Miles' fault, but Pat O'Who.
Pat O'Who.
I just like blaming Mark Miles for everything that goes wrong in my life.
That's so fair. It's a valid opinion to have. But overall, really excited for some racing this week. More Racing Lines episodes coming soon. Summer's upon us. Racing season's upon us. On track content coming soon.
Next week? Well, not next week. We'll be filming it next week. Probably posting it 2 weeks out. Indy GP.
Let's go.
We're also going to watch some school buses going to figure 8.
We are. I'm so excited for that. Thrilled. I'm
probably not going to bring any content from that race. But
no, I don't think we should put a camera on me. I'm going to be on worst behavior at that figure 8 race.
But yeah, support your local dirt tracks, support your local flat tracks, support your local short tracks, support all your local tracks. And yeah, have a great weekend, everyone.
Peace.